You are listening to Listen to a Sun 969 exclusive to YouTube.
It is indeed. That's where we are. Listen to Sun 969. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's so much fun. We get to be loose a bit. Not really. I don't think it's much different. Do you? No. I was thinking about it yesterday. You know, when we started this, we promised to be, you know, a little bit more risque, say a few more things, and maybe did in the first week.
I just don't think we just have that much risque stuff to talk about. And
Possibly
in saying that, we don't really hold back on part one that goes to air either.
No, but it's interesting because yesterday we talked about the content that we would protect, our private content. And I kind of thought about it afterwards. I thought, this is really funny because you and I said when we started this part 2 on YouTube that we would talk a little bit more there. But
they're two completely different
I know
things.
they're different, but I sort of feel like we're not fulfilling that kind of looseness we promised. I'm not talking about our personal lives.
Yeah, because I was going to say they're two separate things that you're saying. Yesterday we were talking about protecting our privacy, our private lives, and I think that's completely different to being on YouTube and having less rules in terms of the words we use and what we say.
Look, it may be, for me, it's about perhaps saying a few things that I wouldn't say on the radio that are my opinions that are possibly based on my private life. Okay, so, you know, maybe I could loosely speak about private matters that in a abstract way that doesn't identify anybody. I never identify anybody. You know, I never identify people.
But for me, I wouldn't have to do that because I don't hold back in terms of my private life. What I put out there to the public is what I would always put out there to the public, no matter if I'm talking to a stranger, going on the radio, or putting something on YouTube. What is out there, and I've made that decision. That's out there, so it can be anywhere out there. Yeah. Then what I have as my private life is nowhere. Like there's no, I would say that on the radio, but I wouldn't say that on YouTube.
However, your best friends, such as Peter Shea, you would possibly discuss your private life with them. And this brings me to a really good topic. It's actually given me an idea because...
Of course I would discuss my private life with my best friend. What are you talking about?
And this is interesting because I've been in relationships where there's almost like a control factor over what I discuss for my own mental stability with my male friends or for other female friends. Say, for example, your relationship. You're having an issue in your relationship, right? I'm a strong believer in talking to people to get ideas, putting it out there, also for your mental stability, in sharing. If you share the load and you know, get some advice from other people, there's no harm in that. But I've been in relationships where the person gets quite upset if you discuss something with your other close friend who's not, like it could be as a male, it could be another male. Right. In fact, it generally would be with me. If I talk to one of my male friends about my relationship and an issue I might be having, the woman gets upset with me talking to somebody else about it. And I'm saying, but no, I need to get my head around what's going on. I need some advice, a third party thinking. And she gets quite annoyed by that. How do you feel about that? If Mr. Loz was chatting with his mates about something that, you know, not spreading the word out, but just someone he's very close to who can help him share the load.
We've been together a long time and he would know what he could and could not discuss outside of our home. I think that there's two parts to this. One, what happens in a relationship between two people should stay there. It is no one else's business. And then if he was off blabbing to his friends about stuff,
not blabbing,
but that's how it would feel. Then I would be like, oh, well, great. I'm not having them over for a barbecue again. I'm going to feel really awkward around them. It would make me really uncomfortable. In saying that, I think there's a difference between telling your mate, and also I'd be like, oh, and what point of view did you tell the story from? Bet you it was yours. But in saying that,
think about the mental health of a person too.
Yep, so go speak to an actual professional where it's, you know, private and confidential, not where it's going to be Chinese whispers amongst the friend group.
It's interesting you say that because I was looking at this a year or two ago in my own life, and the advice I got from a professional was peers. They talk about peers who've been through the same thing.
Absolutely.
So they may be not someone that's close bestie, but it may be somebody else who's, say if you've had a relationship breakdown and you've got a female friend who's had a relationship breakdown, this is a male, right, and that person and you might have a kindred spirit where you can actually discuss the things that went wrong in that relationship.
That's completely inappropriate.
Well, it's called peer. It's called peer.
No. You as a male confiding about your relationship to a female.
No, this is one that's finished. It's like a trauma trauma experience. They're saying peer share with people who've had the same trauma, whatever the trauma. Might be that you were cheated on, for example, okay? In this case, it was a cheating situation.
Yeah.
So this person was also cheated on, so you could talk to them about that.
And use both and no longer in those relationships.
Correct.
So I don't see a problem with that. You're talking about you're talking about your own experiences.
Yeah. So bringing that back to the situation I'm talking about, talking to peers sometimes is actually okay. The psychologists say that that's actually really good in a traumatic situation. People who've been through the same thing. It doesn't have to mean that, say, for example, it was an accident of some sort or something terrible like that. It doesn't mean that person had to have that same experience, but they have been through a similar trauma, and then you can share your experiences. It's well-known peer chatting.
But are we talking about sharing experiences that you're no longer in with peers to get through trauma, or this conversation started, are we talking about when you have a fight with your partner and talk to your friend? They're two completely separate situations. We're going back to that situation. I do believe that it can be beneficial to talk to a friend privately who you can confide in about something that is happening in your own personal life. If it is privately. If it is 100% privately. I'm talking about a person you can absolutely trust.
Like Peter Shea.
Yes, so I would confide in her, of course.
You could talk to her about Mr. Loz.
Yeah, but also I just think there's a fine line. I think that, what happens in a relationship is also private. And I think that can be a little bit... Like, you don't want to you don't want to betray your partner's confidence, or else then when you argue with them in the future, they're going to try and censor themselves because they don't want you to go repeat. They're not going to be who they are. They're not going to be themselves. They're not going to express their vulnerability because they're going to feel you're just going to go talk to someone about that. Also, I do know someone who's done this in the past. So I'll use this as an example. This isn't me.
No.
But you can also confide in a friend, but then there is nothing worse. You cannot then go back to your partner and go, oh, see, so-and-so agrees with me. They said I was right.
Oh, no, you would never.
I know. No.
I agree with you on that.
Okay, so then how is your partner even getting upset that you confided? She shouldn't know you've confided. If it's a true...
Perhaps she's guessing.
No, that's not. No, the only way she would know that you've confided in your mate is if you tell her. That is the only way, or the mate tells her, which proves that was never a mate. That was never a mate.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That would never happen. In my case, I have a mate who I would tell stuff to, and it would never go back. It would never go back.
How's this scenario even starting? How is she getting upset that you've told someone?
She's guessing.
What do you mean she's guessing?
Women have intuition.
Of course,
they do.
Of course we do. But what she randomly out of the woods go, did you talk to so-and-so about this?
Correct.
That is so unrealistic, situation.
I've been in this so much with women, right? And one in particular who just guesses. I talk to people and say, well, if I do, that's up to me. Right, I say if I do. I don't never say that I did or didn't.
See, that's an incorrect response.
Well, perhaps it is.
If someone said to me, "If I do, it's up to me," I'd be like, "No, this was between us. It is up to us." The correct response was, for my own
mental stability, perhaps I need to get some advice.
Yeah, so then you say that.
I say that too.
You say.
I always say. You say
that. I spoke about my experiences with a friend to help me understand your point of view.
Yes,
that
exactly.
is what you would say.
And I always say that, but it doesn't go down well.
I feel like you're not, because every time I throw out an idea, you change what you're saying and say, that's what I said. Well, that's not what you said.
It's entirely what I said, because at the end of the day, number one, guessing, she guessed. She always guesses. It's like I call it fishing, throwing it out there, right? And then I say, well, if I want to talk to someone about it for my own mental stability, that's my prerogative. I can do that, and confidentially and fine. Oh, but like what you said, I don't want other people knowing our business, and that's fine. But for me, sometimes I need to, for my own mental stability, I need to feel healthy and be able to do that. Look, we're on this planet for a short time. That is a fact, and we need to be mindful of being as healthy as we can mentally, not just in our physical body, but in our mind. And relationships can be very unhealthy. And that's why I'm no longer in that relationship. But, for me, that's the situation. You need to be happy in a relationship as much as you can. There'll be moments you won't be happy, always. But if you're going to be in a relationship where your mind is not comfortable, not happy, and if it's a small thing, maybe you can get some advice from a close friend like you with Peter Shea. But if it's something big, then maybe you need to review the whole relationship sometimes,
See, I don't know. I think there is a lot in a relationship that is private, and I wouldn't confide in anyone. It's between me and my husband.
Well, I think anything that happens in the bedroom is pretty much private.
No, not even that. Vulnerable situations.
However, if a man is having dysfunction in the bedroom, he could talk to a male friend about that, I think.
Yeah, but again, that is nothing what I'm talking about confiding in a friend about things happening in a relationship. I'm not talking about just those types of things. It's
That's
anything.
Just an example, really.
It's anything. Like, I would feel like if I confided an insecurity of mine that was causing arguments in my relationship, and I confided that to my partner, and he then went and made it about himself and his own mental, I needed to confide in this friend I would feel so betrayed.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I would be like,
I agree with you on that.
Out you get.
I agree with you on that if it was about your issue.
But when you are fighting with someone, it is about your issue.
No, but if it's about his issue, his mental issue.
Well, then what's the problem? You can talk about yourself to your mate all you want.
Let's go further and say if a man is behaving badly in a relationship and he wants to get some advice from a mate on how to, for example, he's arguing.
Then why would a woman have a problem with that?
Or maybe even domestic abuse. Maybe if he goes to his mate and his mate says, "Mate, you need to stop doing this. You need to calm down, count to 10, things like that." Whatever techniques this other man uses, it can help.
Absolutely, but again, it's very different situations.
Very different, but there's so many scenarios. I mean, it's a movable feast completely. There's so many things that could be happening. I think we go back to the point. If you're talking to Peter Shea.
That was never the point.
If you're going to talk to someone, like a man should be able to talk to a mate.
You're making assumptions of what I do in my relationship, which are incorrect.
Okay, well, I don't need to assume anything. I'm just saying that if you've got a close friend you can talk to, a male should also be able to
But you're assuming I do. Like, yeah, sure, I talk to Peter Shea, but things in my relationship, God, I would tell no one. They're between Mr. Loz and myself.
That's good. That's good, but the avenue is there. Peter Shea would give you. I'm sure she would give you advice if you asked for it.
She'd give me a shovel.
Would she?
Yeah. We'd be each other's alibis.
Oh, that's a great way to finish. Anyway, we'll catch you tomorrow.